Hello and welcome to now sunny Portland, Oregon, as the sun breaks through the crowds for the first time today. It is week 8 here in the Western Ultimate League. We have just started the first point of the game of the week between hometown team Soar and the visiting Arizona Sidewinders. I am Bobby Goff, and I'm joined by the always sharp and always sharply dressed Danny Runzo. Danny, how's it going?
Good, Bobby. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful.
Very excited for this matchup. We have two teams who are in the exact same position in their divisional rankings, both in third in the division. And to start off this first quarter, we had Soar pulling to Sidewinders, and it looks like Soar has earned the ball.
Yeah, first turnover of the game. Just can't quite hug that yellow line. The yellow lines on your screen will be in and out. I know it might be a little hard to see that far one there. And near collision there. Throw into a crowd. Arizona gets the block, and they are back on O.
I apologize for the dramatic gasp there, but that is, I believe, Reed coming down with the block.
And tricky throw to Reed. No one ends up coming up from it from Chip Chang. That is another turnover for Arizona. Oregon has the full 80 to go here for their first break.
I think the receiver there was Brittany Stetmeyer, who has been having quite a season. Definitely one of Arizona's go-to targets in the end zone, and for good reason. They're a really fun player to watch. Fitz putting on some good pressure defense, though.
Yeah, both teams, as Danny alluded to, sitting in third place right now in the standings, which is the first team out in both divisions. So while maybe not literally a loser goes home game, it is essentially that, as both teams can't really afford to lose again if they want to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, it's an interesting position for the playoff berth. I think both teams are not entirely in control of their destinies. Right. This is an important game for both of them. So I don't know if it's completely no chance for the loser of this matchup, but it is very important for both teams. They're both gunning for this win.
Posey goes to ground, can't secure kind of blading reset. And once again, Arizona is going to give it a go, but their resets, their deep game, they are coming out a little bit disconnected here as the road team.
Yeah, maybe some early game jitters on both sides. I think we're maybe on the fourth turn so far at this point.
And confusion from the defensive end leaves a wide open Soar player, but speaking of early game jitters, kind of just bops it right off the chest. Both teams trying to string together any couple of passes here. Decent poach there from Soarsburg. Not quite there, and they try to attack the poach space downfield, but a bit too far, and something that always plays into these early points here in Portland is the kind of breezy, strange stadium wind effects that are going on down there. It's always changing. They do get a chance to warm up with it, but it just takes a few reps to figure all that out down there.
Yeah, you read my mind. It isn't necessarily a super windy day here in Portland, but we were down on the field before the game started, and it is shocking how gusty sometimes it feels down there. So very unpredictable wind.
Yeah, here's Soar with their first chance in the red zone. Applegate tries to jump the lane there on a reset when Torres calls a foul, to which Applegate agrees. It's going to stay here with Oregon. About 10 yards to go here. And then tries to keep the pace going. Caitlin Fitzgerald in her home game debut here for Oregon. Once again, can't connect with Posey. And now it's Arizona's turn to try to go the full 80. And Fitzgerald tries to get it right back. She has a real knack for making plays exactly like that, but it might have been in the hands of the Arizona receiver. I believe we're going to see if the observer had a good perspective on this one.
Yeah, from our angle, I am not confident on if that was clean or not,
Me
but it
neither.
was definitely a great defensive effort from Fitz, as I think most people know them.
Mhm. Both players, I think, explaining their case, and the observer, just like myself, is going to agree to contest that and give it back to the thrower. So it was a little bit too close for anyone to be sure. Great play. Arizona will happily keep possession of the disc as they find a nice floater down the high side of the field, finally cross back into Oregon's half. And they finally break through down to the cutters and then find the resets again. They're stringing something together here, but a tight window throw, and it's boxed out from a poaching defender off the backside. Wonderful play in the end zone. After a couple minutes of trading, Arizona brings down the first goal of Week 8. It is 1-0 at Sidewinders.
I think this first point is a really good representation of both of these teams. These are really gritty, athletic teams.
Yep.
And I think Sidewinders did a really nice job of recognizing a couple of poached players and finding them and hitting those spaces. Took a couple tries, but they got there and they put it away. On the other side, I think Soar is generating some really nice pressure and team defense, and they got a couple of chances there to score. I would really like to see them switch the field a little bit when they're attacking the end zone. It's been a little bit force it up the force sideline.
Yeah, I feel like we always feel a strong correlation here at this field between switching sides of the field and scoring in the same point, with the kind of weird wind that can frequently push teams one direction. It's easy to get stuck on one sideline, but not a lot of success comes from those.
Fully
It's
agree.
Oregon's first point, and they do a great job of getting to the high side already, and some kind of mistake downfield. Noelle Takahashi has no one guarding her, and Egan gets a free layup into the end zone, and Oregon puts the quick turnaround hold, and we got a tie ball game.
I definitely agree with you. I think that was some sort of blown communication. I have definitely seen Takahashi get that open before,
Sure.
but that was a lot of space, and I think we see some of the Sidewinders players looking at each other and some what happened confusion. But, you know, one of the things about these WL games, there is not a lot of time in between points. Hopefully they can figure out what happened, but they pretty quickly need to get right back into the next point, and that same Arizona D-line is just going to flip and move on to offense here. Actually, speaking with the coaches before the game, I confirmed with them that they don't run a true O-line and D-line.
Very cool.
They strongly feel that in order to win a game and play good ultimate, you have to do both offense and defense, so they more have two major pods, and so we will see both these players on both sides quite frequently, which is very cool.
Yeah, and I imagine that's going to pay off immediately here as they feel confident just bringing that same line back to play offense after a 10-second defensive point. It's a good format for this league that just plays so much faster than frisbee players might be used to. We get first look at this kind of second D-line here for Oregon, and another stretch downfield finds an Oregon defender in the pocket there. They are going to get their first break chance with this group. Rachel Egan here through the assist last point, still on the field. And right behind a trailing Arizona cutter defender. Oregon's able to squeeze it through a lane here, and now they're riding the sideline into Arizona territory. But can they get it off of that corner? And as Quattrucci makes a wonderful play, I believe we heard the timeout whistle just before that throw went off. I think that's Coach Chelsea Putnam feeling a rising stall and not being afraid to use a timeout, which will let you sub players on to try and secure an early break here.
Yeah, well done by the Soar coaching staff. That, I think, was wise. Izzy Quattrucci coming up with a great save, but still maybe there was a sense of some discomfort.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it again. I think we're really seeing Soar's offense get stuck on this forced righty forehand sideline over here. I think they should really be fighting to, move the ball quickly off of that sideline if they find themselves there, but maybe even think twice a little bit about placing themselves there to begin with. I know this team has a lot of fabulous break throwers, and I think using the high side of the field is going to serve them well.
Yeah, totally agree. They got a nice gainer down here, but the disc has not moved after that.
Speaking of fabulous break throwers, we have Jelly Boyden picking up the disc. Probably my favorite person to pick up the disc in that position on this team.
I agree. And this fresh O-line here for Oregon. Egan again staying on the field. Takahashi, the goal scorer, joining her. We'll see if they can reconnect downfield, but it's all going to start on the sideline here as Jelly Boyden is pressured but finds a nice little gap that Belier fills, and now they have themselves a nice central spot here. Another high stall. Oregon trying to organize themselves downfield, a little choppy. Another high stall. The Marks doing a great work here for Arizona, and a small window of space. Boyden has to go the full length, and it just bounces off the hand. So close to Oregon's first break. Now this O-line's going to have to play some D. Immediate deep shot. Arizona was ready for that the whole way. That's Kristen Reed, who has been a real goal-scoring threat their entire career, and they remain so as they completely flipped the script of that point and go 80 yards in about 3 throws. Kristen Reed, gaining almost all 80 of them, gets the long timeout-induced hold for Arizona.
Really nice offense. I love to see Arizona immediately get that turn and press play, go on attack on offense. Their deep game is definitely a strength of theirs. I think that Oregon is going to need to be thinking about that on the turn and make sure they're containing that deep look, especially Reed. There's definitely a lot of players on this team that are great deep receivers, but Reed is definitely one of them.
Yeah, they've had a star next to their name basically every game I've ever watched. They are so fast and just have great timing. They just put all their tools together so crisply every time they're out there. It's really something to watch.
I unfortunately didn't see who put the deep shot up
Same.
to them, but it was a beautiful throw, very easy for Reed to run onto and really not give any of the Soar players a chance.
Maybe Paige Applegate, but yeah, we'll try to check on that. Here's Oregon again, back on offense with kind of their second O-line group. Fitzgerald is going to try to strike back really quickly to Oregon's own speedy deep threat, but once again on the other side of the field, bounces off the hand of Zoe Luke. Can Arizona get a little trend started here? Fitzgerald says no, as this time that block is clean, and Oregon now 1 yard away from a dirty hold.
Yeah, we see Fitz make things happen again. There we have Jackie Matonis throwing the assist to Zoe Luke, putting it away. Easy.
Zoe Luke with a little redemption for themselves after a potential just full drop there on that first throw. But Fitzgerald has their back, gets their clean block also. Excitement here as the crowd finds their first high energy moment. We still have a tie game here on serve, 2-2.
Yeah, I want to see Soar find their comfort, their energy a little bit more. That is 2 off the hand drops we've seen in just a couple of points. These games are long and they're really tiring, and the more efficient you can be with putting points away, the better it's going to serve them, especially against a team that has traveled here. Typically that roster is smaller, which I do believe is the case here for Arizona playing here in Oregon. You got to put it away. You got to make sure you use the full strength of your roster for all 4 quarters.
Yeah, this Arizona group definitely felt slim to me during warm-ups. I think they have maybe just 16 to 18 people, basically your 2 lines plus some subs. And Arizona again finds room down the back, and they are clicking now. Chip Chang puts out a nice touchy floater with some pace and finds a wide open receiver, and they quickly hold to maintain their lead 3-2.
Yeah, it looked like Soar was trying to throw some sort of junk, probably just to stop whatever their Arizona's pull play was going to be. But I really think a bright spot for Arizona is their core handler groups, and they pretty quickly found the open player, sliced through. And then there really wasn't any over-the-top help to contain that dangerous Arizona deep game. I like the switch up. I think that there really has to be a prioritization to decentivize the away look for Arizona.
Yeah, both teams clicking a little bit more, which will let the opponent kind of feel out the strategy a little bit more and kind of inch things closer to where they want to be. So while the choppy start is not what anyone wants, sort of cleaner middle portion of this period is going to let teams start changing their strategies. So Arizona also not throwing a poach, but a little bit of more matchup confusion, and that is going to lead to Winterbottom. Thought they found a gap into the end zone for Matonis, but that disc kind of hangs up, and everyone attacks it a bit early, just flies right over the head of everybody.
That might have been a little bit of a result of that weird wind we're always talking about in this stadium.
Yep. And Matonis, just like last point, a player gets a chance at redemption with a nice defensive play, but Arizona believes they had their hand on it, calls the foul. And they take it to the observer, who is going to overrule the foul call. That disc is going to stay on the ground for Oregon to pick up.
That's a really nice block from Jackie Matonis.
This Oregon O-line gets a break. They don't have to play defense for 80 yards, and Boyden tries to go around the mark quickly, kind of wisely gets fouled. So
pretty quick no contest from the Arizona player there.
And then if option A doesn't work, Egan as option B is always sound, and Oregon, after a little bit of a hiccup, once again has a hold 3-3 here. Standard offense coming out for Arizona. Oregon looks like they're bringing out, you know what, they play a lot of D-lines. It's hard to call it D1 or D2, which I appreciate because they have found success through so many different players in that D group. They probably feel pretty empowered to switch things up between games and between points. Caitlin Fitzgerald is going to come out as the 2 blocks of the game so far, although one won't be in the stat book. Zoe Luke scored last time they were on the field, back out here on defense. See if this Arizona group can keep their pace going. Up the line. Up on the high side, they're going to try to take that little sliver of space again. This time, Luke is able to get up at the right time and knock it away. Great block for Oregon. They will have a break chance here.
I'm seeing a lot of fun celebrations on the Soar sideline for that block. That was great. We've got Soar hunting for the first break of the game, but a full 80 to go.
Cami Lamont. Start with the disc. They have been one of the surer pairs of hands for this Oregon team this year. Space downfield for Luke, who catches it away, and they are going to keep pushing the button. And a nice positional block there. That's Kristen Reed doing it on defense in the deep space as well as offense. That's a big block there as Oregon was looking to run away with it.
Yeah, I really liked number 66, Casey's look down to
Yeah.
Zoe Luke. Zoe Luke's player had poached under in the lane, and it was a great throw to them.
And high stall. Chang able to get it up the line. They have it again here.
Oh, I see an
Applegate.
uncovered Stepmeyer deep. Oh, but recovered.
Yeah, handlers not looking, and Chang tries to bop one over a defender where there was room but doesn't quite have the right touch and elevation on the throw.
Yeah, nice awareness from Jamie Johnson to make sure that connection did not happen there.
Yeah, they were the ones who almost had that deep look downfield. They get a chance to prove themselves again. Kind of the story of this game. Player unable to bring something down, then immediately having a chance to get it back. Oregon now in Arizona territory. Breaks through about 8 yards out. They are going to take a look. Well-timed turn of the page in the end zone. That might be bookends down there for
That
Jamie
is.
Johnson, who brings in Oregon's first break of the game. They are up 4-3.
Yeah, what a battle so far. Very exciting to see Soar earn that first break for the game. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to carry this momentum into another one. But if I know anything about Arizona, they're a grade A team. They are absolutely going to keep fighting. But that is the end of the first quarter. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we will be back with you shortly.
Welcome back to Portland, Oregon. We are at the start of quarter two here. Oregon gets, I think, the first and only break of the game there
Correct.
to end that quarter. Sneak a lead up to themselves as they talk about how to bring that energy again in this quarter and how Martise up in the stands is getting the crowd hyped. Big shout out to him, bringing the energy every week. Let's take a look at some of the keys to the game as we enter this second quarter.
All right, so these are the Arizona Sidewinders' keys to the game. We are looking for them to apply even pressure through the entirety of all four quarters. I mentioned it earlier, it is a smaller roster. They got to keep that pressure up the entire time. We've definitely seen that they can earn the ball and earn blocks, but I think sometimes that end zone looked a little bit shaky for them, so we are looking to see efficient end zone usage. And lastly, effective in-game adaptation. I was really impressed with their coaching staff at their game last week, the adjustments they made and how they held things off, and I'm excited to see them do it through this game too.
And a quick break chance for Arizona, but a bit too quick as Jelly Boyden carves a little slasher to Rachel Egan, a foot in front of her, and Oregon gets away with a dirty hold here to start this quarter. They are up 5-3. Yeah, and as we were talking about Arizona's keys, they again come with a little bit of a poachy set downfield, but once again sort of leaves a Soar cutter pretty open downfield. This time was Takahashi with a big gainer. They get the turn immediately after and then unfortunately hand it right back, but this Arizona team continues to try different things on defense. They're getting some turns, but yet to result in a break for them.
Yeah, Arizona definitely has some interesting junk and zone looks, and I'm looking at the fun zone flag over in the kids area, and it's really going. So I actually think that the wind has maybe even picked up more down on the field at the moment. So always a good time for possibly a junk look in those instances.
Yeah, while the wind typically comes from the camera side towards the stands, that aspect of it is always shifting, so it's never truly up and down wind, more of a crosswind situation, which means it's going to remain challenging from both sides of the field going either direction. As Chang, Applegate play catch, finally getting downfield on this Oregon side. They switch the fields pretty well. They take this near side sliver again, and a nice piece of footwork to keep the feet in the field of play, but the disc goes off the hands downfield. It's a turnover for Arizona. Brittany Stetmeyer did a good job getting open down there, but just not quite enough space, and Arizona has continued to try to squeeze throws into that sliver of a sideline space. Speaking of squeezing throws, Oregon trying to not throw a Callahan here. They do turn it over, but it luckily outside the end zone. Arizona with a gift. About 3 yards to go here for them. And a late mark means that disc is in Applegate's hands for a while. The stall was rising, and a little shift on the mark leaves some room to the break side. Applegate is not going to miss those windows, and they punch in a hold to start their quarter.
I saw Fitz give a little hand clap there. I think they knew they bit a little too hard, leaving that around open, which, like you said, a player like Applegate absolutely going to punish that. I think Arizona recognized right away that Soar was in a bit of a side stack and did a nice job of dropping some inactive defenders into those lanes, which really gunked it up for Soar. That was very nicely done. And way to capitalize on the end zone, put it right away.
Yeah, you always see a little bit of a bump after quarter breaks. It's really the first time your whole team has an opportunity to talk about anything together. These games just go so fast, and half of your roster is basically always playing. So both teams making some small changes, and here is another zone look from this Arizona defense. But Oregon once again really quickly gets it past that first level. See if Arizona can kind of melt into person defense here without too much trouble. Looks like they have it marked up, but Oregon already with just 5 yards to go. And while a lot of blocked space downfield from both teams, as the waves part, Rachel Egan finds a crease and Winterbottom gets it to them in the end zone. Rachel Egan putting her fingerprints all over this game as Oregon keeps their lead up. It is 6-4.
And Yeti with the assist there, which is an especially fun player to talk about in this game because they are a Sidewinders alumni. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to say that for WUL players. But yes, Yeti's WUL Pro experience started with the Sidewinders, I believe, several years ago. And so I know that they know a lot of players on this team. I'm sure they were giving some intel to the coaches on Soar coming in, helping game plan a little bit. But Yeti has definitely been a high-impact player for Soar this season as well. Often one of the outlets on the under, and also an incredibly fun deep target as well. So I'm sure they're having a blast out here playing with and against so many teammates.
High-impact player, high-impact friend, beloved wherever they go. I know both teams are glad to be playing or have played with them. Arizona going to have to do it without Yeti on their team, though. As this O-line comes out. Only the one break against them so far, but they have been getting some high stalls. Speaking of, Applegate maybe has that called against them.
I really like what Soar's handler defenders have been doing. The chemistry and cohesion between these Sidewinders handlers is very strong. A lot of these players have been playing together for a long time. And by staying a little bit loose and staying in the throwing lanes and adjusting as they chip forward, I think they're doing a nice job of creating some frustration and high stall situations.
Yes, if I had to guess, I think that might have been a contact call with kind of the wrong response from the mark. So violation keeps that disc here. And picked downfield. Slow things down once again. Arizona going to keep that ball. As things continue to go a little slowly for this Arizona group, they are inching their way into Oregon territory. And commentator's curse gets them there as a little reset. Finds Aragon trying to turn upfield a little too quick. Just a little bobble. And a nice move. Caitlin Osborne to start creates separation. And the throw from Lamont has just enough to gain the goal line. And all of a sudden, Oregon is in the end zone for a break. And they push their lead up to 7-4.
That was a great throw from Cami Lamont to a streaking Crater. Great, lofted it out there, easy for Crater to run on and grab.
Yeah, we saw that happen to Soar in the first period. Just kind of a surprise turnover turns in very quickly into a break. And I believe Arizona might have called a timeout here to kind of gather themselves after a little bit of a choppy start here. And while they're in a break, let's go ahead and take a look at the Oregon Soar keys to the game as both teams kind of regroup. And this first one we saw Arizona coming out with early, limit that deep game, which is a big power for them. They have not quite connected as they typically do yet, but I imagine they're going to keep going to it. Also for Oregon, high tempo pace. You could see it there when they get up and go fast and keep the ball moving. Don't get stuck in these little sideline pockets. They have proven to be really hard to beat. And find the hot hand. Lastly, this Oregon team has a lot of depth, and it has seemed like a different player each half of each game kind of just starts taking over. And if I'm the coach, I'm telling my players to find them as fast as I can and just keep putting the ball in their hands. Right now, that's probably Rachel Egan, who has been a part of most of the scores here.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. If someone's feeling good, feeling themselves, feeling great about their matchup, let them cook.
Especially at home when you have a bunch of people giving you energy from the sidelines. See where Arizona can find their energy from. They're going to need someone to start being their all-star player of the half pretty soon here. They find themselves in the red zone, though, with this second O-line. A great place to find energy is from your second group. And they find a defender kind of not looking, and they try to put out a touchy throw into space, but it just has a bit too much pace. Floats past the receiver. While getting into the end zone fast, they turn it over, and Oregon has another break chance.
That is some high effort and gritty play from Arizona. They are so close. They just need to clean up some of those connections, and they're right there.
And Fitzgerald finds a nice little alley of a power position. But the mark does a good job of taking away the first look. Fitzgerald tries to squeeze it through a different space, and it catches the wind, floats out of bound, and here comes Arizona. They are going to take another look into the end zone. Eifert this time, instead of being the thrower, is the receiver, and once again just 6 inches too far. That end zone is historically tough to get into. The wind always seems to play little extra tricks down near that end.
I agree. It really looks like the frisbee just keeps sailing whenever it's
going.
sent out the back. And I don't know if on camera we can see any flags down there, but again, the fun zone flag, that is my guiding force here. It is really blowing that direction.
And another high stall near the sideline. I believe we have another timeout whistle, although we are getting some stall head taps from players and referees. So we'll see if someone can kind of clarify the order of operations here. Coaches for Oregon, I'm stating their case that they called the timeout successfully, and I think we will all agree with that. Yes, as Oregon is going to use their second timeout of their half. So they are out of those. See if they put some new players in. Arizona can do the same.
I am seeing some O hand signals. So yes, in fact, we are going to see Soar's offensive line. They've got probably a solid 70 yards to go. So I think that is definitely a smart choice. And once again, I like this decision by the Soar coaches. I think that this would be a really great point to add another break to the count. And it's hard for a team to not take a hit for multiple breaks in a row. I think this is an important one for Soar to really seize control of this game right now.
Yeah, and both teams, similar seasons, you expect this game coming in to be pretty close. So every single break has a little bit more impact here. I believe the last time, though, that Oregon pulled this move in the first quarter, I believe they got broken after like a quick pickup and huck a couple times to Kristen Reed. So we'll see if they can turn it into something more productive this time, as their standard O-line is out here. They get it off the sideline, and that second continue is also historically problematic, and so are calling timeouts for Oregon Soar as Arizona, quick catch block, quick throw into the end zone. They get a long timeout-induced dirty hold, but they cut into that Oregon lead.
Bobby, you might be caught out for the commentator's curse on that one. I don't know.
It's twice now.
However, I will say Sidewinders' defense was really solid downfield. Oregon ran kind of a classic diamond cut, and Arizona read it pretty easily, put a body on Egan, I believe, and said, nope, you're not getting this under. I like the movement towards the break side. I think that is exactly what Soar needs to be doing, just a little bit more execution. And once again, I think we're seeing a bit of a wind situation in that space of the field. So just some simple adjustments. They're doing the right things.
Kay Powell hits the worm immediately after catching that. Is that going to be the momentum changer here?
You know, I've seen that move before from Kay Powell. I think that is the signature Selly. If it gets the team hyped, you like to see it.
Yeah, here comes Oregon with the side stack again. Winterbottom starts with it. Belier breaks out of the pack. Identified as one of the players to watch by this Oregon coaching staff. Haley Belier.
I believe their receiving yards this season is one of the highest on the team. They've been really fun to watch take the field this year.
Yeah, definitely having a breakout season. Winterbottom, a little hesitation, but the disc comes anyway. Allowed to close the gap there, the defender, Caroline O'Connell, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to stay with Yeti. And a bit of a bump there as players enter the same path. I believe that's going to be a foul called against Jilly Boyden. Brittany Stetmeyer going to talk about it. We'll have a little pre-stall movement allowed here. I think a great feature of this league. Lets things get moving. And Boyden successfully carves up the line as the defender trailing just behind. And who else but Rachel Egan is there for the follow. Oregon, after a couple of short stoppages, find one of their few clean holds as they continue to cruise through the second quarter. They're up 8-5.
I think we're starting to see Soar feel themselves a bit more. I was mentioning I wanted to see them hit their groove in the first quarter. They're fighting through some contact and securing some tough catches. I see a lot of energy on their sideline. I like what I'm seeing. They look really, really good, really strong. But again, I've said it multiple times now, Sidewinders is absolutely a gritty team. They need to keep that energy going, because if you leave the door open for this Arizona team, I absolutely expect them to bust through it.
I totally agree, and they're doing a good job of turning up that pressure and that physicality a little bit. Oregon receiving it well so far. We'll see if Arizona can kind of crack through their composure. But first, they're going to have to show their own composure on offense here. Kay Powell is going to start in the middle of the field. See if they can find the end zone again. Hit another worm for this Arizona team.
We all want to see it.
We all want to see it. And some passive resets as the downfield defense is excellent and trying to gain the break side there on the reset, just a little too far out in front. Cami Lamont now leading the charge for the Oregon break squad. Nice little hesitation there, and Chip Chang, the veteran poach, nearly has an opportunity.
Chang was going to sneak in there for a block.
And more incredibly close pressure, Lippincott, who, if they're guarding me, I'm expecting them to bid just like that, but it's not quite there. And Jamie Johnson again has a big pivotal goal for this Oregon squad. They earn their second break. They push their lead 9-5.
And what a perfect around throw from, I think, Lamont.
I think so.
Again, we know Cody is absolutely that player that's going to leave their feet.
Yes.
And, man, you got to throw that perfectly to not have that block happen, and they absolutely did. What a great throw. And a great catch under some high pressure from, I believe, Johnson, who definitely has their fingerprints on this game. They've been a high-impact player, had bookends earlier.
Yeah, and it's become a game of inches here as bids are close and catches are under a lot of pressure in Oregon, while just making a couple of small plays extra have really taken over on the score sheet here. Arizona just needs to find a way to take that extra half step to kind of respond here. Once again, they are a bit stuck. Resetting the disc, and as soon as they go downfield, it's Fitzgerald again, third time this game, with probably could have bid over me at 6'4", would have cleared me easily, but then the inside throw finds the ground when it comes right back to then, and I am watching out for another block, because the last time Fitz couldn't make it happen on offense.
Yeah, Janet Wan with the block there for Sidewinders, returning the favor.
And a bit of a trust throw there as Arizona is thinking about the clock here and thinking about the deficit.
Preston Bird coming up with that block, though. I believe a Donovan nominee this season. Go check out their video.
Yeah, I believe so. Oregon here. 80 yards to go. Another break chance. Ball is tipped on the reset. Not enough to earn a turn.
I have played with and against O'Connell before, and yeah, that wingspan is hard to throw around. You see a lot of hand blocks from that player.
When Torres finds a gap downfield, so Oregon doing a nice job of not letting the stall reach higher than 3 here as they try to run away downfield.
Yeah, almost a little dominator situation happening for Soar's offense here.
And guess who is in the end zone? Rachel Egan from Wen Torres, and Oregon has got the break train rolling. They double up Arizona here in the first half, 10-5.
Something we mentioned as a key to the game for Arizona was in-game adjustment, and I actually liked what I saw for them coming out on offense that last point. They had shifted into a vertical stack, I think specifically to try to not let those handler poachers take so many of the lanes. If there's only 2 handlers back there, there's not as many people to muck up those throwing lanes, which again, fabulous handlers. They definitely want to attack the break side. And I liked it. I think it's a good idea. I actually would like to see them try it again. I think it's a good way to stop this defense that's clearly been crafted specifically for this group of handlers. So maybe a little bit more execution there. We'll see what they come out with on this possession. We are under a minute left in the second quarter, so we will see if Arizona can keep the ball through the clock.
Yeah, that would be one of the more helpful things they can do here as this half closes, is to manage the clock, try to be the team with the disc for the last possession. But of course, you're going to take a goal any time that it comes here as they quickly enter the red zone here. And a sneaking defender, I thought, would have persuaded the throw not to go up, but it does, and it works. That's Sonny Harris flipping it into the end zone there. Arizona with a nice quick goal. They will give Oregon another look here, but you will take the goals when they come, and they are down 6-10.
That's great. Yeah, if the window is there, Arizona needs points. That's a nice quick goal. And it'll be interesting to see what sort of defense they throw here. There is 16 seconds left in the quarter. So, you know, you want to make sure you don't throw some sort of defense that is containment focused. You want to generate some sort of block here. So I'm interested to see what Sidewinders do.
And it could be tricky as the receiving team here. You could try to just complete 3 or 4 passes to anyone anywhere, and then the clock can run out. But when you try to play those funky non-goal related games, sometimes you make a silly mistake. But the side stack from Oregon just leaves so much room for Oregon to complete some passes, and we have our buzzer. This will be the last possession. Can Oregon turn it into anything? They sure can't. Rachel Egan has decided that this half is over. They're going to take their 50 goals and assists into the locker room as Oregon Soar jumped out to a 10-6 lead. Danny, what do you think these teams are going to be thinking about as they take their big break here?
I think Oregon Soar is going to be thinking, hey, let's just keep doing what we're doing. It's clearly been effective. That quarter, I believe they outscored Arizona Sidewinders 6-2. So I don't really think they're going to be looking to make that many strategic adjustments here other than acknowledging, hey, we did see them flip from a horizontal stack into a vertical stack. But honestly, they've done a great job with defending it so far. Arizona Sidewinders, on the other hand, I think are going to be really thinking about what do we need to be doing differently here going into this second half. You know, I think I would like to see a little bit more driven forward handler movement and then the appropriate timing for the cutters downfield off of that. I really think the handler group for this Arizona team is really strong, really high chemistry. And I trust them to be able to throw themselves out of these situations.
Totally.
But you got to do it with your legs. You got to make the right spaces. And it'll be interesting to see if they can work out some of the kinks on offense.
Yeah, and the pressure remains high for both teams to come away with the win here for the postseason. We will see who can respond better to that half as we take a 5-minute break here. We will see you on the other side.
It's a goal! Cala, es tuyo.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine in a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement needs to be. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
Down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop. Get down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop. I fucked up this hustle, day we hustle, but the oh my. So big we hustle, but the oh my. What is my guns? Know that they fly, know that they ride or die. You turn my sixes to nine. I want you to hold me, ride this with.
Planning your club season? Come to Ski Town, August 15th and 16th in Salt Lake City. There will be a women's, mixed, and open division. We are now accepting bids, and scan the QR code on the screen or email skitownclassic@gmail.com for more information. We'll see you at Ski Town.
It's a goal! Hey, Callahan es tuyo.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance
Actually,
for
let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine and a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplements to me. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
Welcome back to Portland, Oregon. It's week 8 here in the Western Ultimate League. It is the second half of the game of the week between the Oregon Soar and the Arizona Sidewinders. Both teams need to come away with a win here if they want their postseason dreams to continue on. But Oregon has jumped up to a 10-6 lead, and it happened pretty suddenly there in that second quarter. Danny, if you could summarize both teams' performances in a couple words or sentences, how would you do so?
Great question. I think Oregon has been high pressure, emphatic, playing intelligently against the strengths of this Sidewinders team. I think on the other side, again, I like the pressure that Sidewinders is generating, and it just feels like they just need a little bit more to be a little bit more in this game.
Yeah.
I think they're close. You know, they certainly haven't given up. They're not laying down and dying, but something has to change just a tiny bit. So I'm excited here to see, starting out in the second half, Oregon Soar is going to be pulling to Sidewinders, and so coming out of the half, I want to see what adjustments they're making on offense, because that is the part of the game that they need to step up a little bit right now if they want to stay in this game.
Yeah, they have seemed just a quarter step behind in the pivotal moments, so they are right there. So they get a little break there at halftime to regroup. Can they gain that quarter step? They are going to get back to their deep game as that pass gets completed down, and they find themselves 15 and now 5 yards away. A nice job shutting down the first look downfield, but Paige Applegate puts a little round the corner move on their defender. Find a nice little dump in for a much needed Arizona hold there. Nice and clean, great way to start. They are down 7-10.
The coaches have to be happy with how that
Oh, yeah.
first offensive possession goes. I also want to shout out, I believe that was Lindsay Doyle. First, an insane getting off the ground catch. It looked like that disc was going to sail up above, but Doyle secured it. And then again later, whenever their teammate put a huck up to them, it was a little bit short, but they did a great job of coming back to the disc and securing it again.
Yeah, with the player all over him.
Yeah,
The
absolutely. Absolutely. So that is exactly the energy we want to see from Sidewinders coming into the second half.
Yeah, kind of like in basketball, it's valuable to just see the ball go through the net once. It doesn't matter how it happens. So that could be a bit of a launching point here for the energy of this team, but this Oregon offense has been excellent. They're going to take the field for the first time this half. See if they can maintain their energy and composure here. Here's Rachel Egan, definitely the all-star of the first half. Big gainer down to Belier. And that has been the tricky throw, is the reset off of this high side line. They do it once here, but they're back against the sideline, but nice footwork and speed there. Past a bidding Eifert. That's Noelle Takahashi. Reels in the assist from Haley Bolier, and Oregon gets a nice clean hold in response.
Takahashi does a great job of making sure that their feet are in on that goal. There was not a lot of space there, especially with the flying Eifert coming in. Great pressure from Arizona, but Soar still gets it done. I think something I noticed with Arizona's defense there was some different personnel matchups. I saw number 4, Liv Chambliss, marking Rachel Egan, and I actually really noticed them in the first half as well. They have great footwork, really tight, high-pressure defense, and I think it's really smart for Arizona to try to limit a player like Rachel Egan, who is such an outlet for their offense.
Yeah, I love seeing mix-ups and changes like that. Who's guarding who? I think that requires a really specific level of detail in your game planning from your coaching staff, and I think both teams are really interested in having that level of detail, especially in a game like this that has so much impact. You can see Coach Leo for the Soar talking to the D-line like he does every point before this one. See what their second D point looks like. Nice pressure there from Zoe Luke, although unfazed Lindsay Doyle. Back to the high side now. A lot of touches for Caroline O'Connell. They're going to try to make a play downfield, and right before the fingers slap down to catch that disc, Jamie Johnson gets a fingertip on it and influences it just enough. You could see the kind of stunned look on that receiver's face. It seemed like they were about to bring down an easy one.
Yeah, what a great block from Jamie Johnson. They are having a great game.
And kind of a miscue on the type of throw and the type of cut in the handler space leads to a quick turnover, and another smooth little move there from Applegate to create a window between two people marking them somehow. Finds an open cutter in Arizona, although a little dirty this time, gets another pretty quick hold.
Yeah, Arizona coming out strong. This quarter is looking a lot more like the first quarter where we saw a lot of trading points before we even saw the first break of the game. So really nice adjustments are being made here by Arizona. I think if I'm Soar, again, keeping that pressure going, we kind of saw it get to Arizona in the first half. So they got to keep on it. They can't give up here.
Yeah, and something we can start feeling here in the booth is that the clouds have burned off. The sun is out here. That turf is going to start getting hot real fast.
Which I have to imagine would be an advantage towards the Arizona Sidewinders. Us Oregonians don't do so great in heat. there's actually a heat advisory warning for the weekend, so I don't think it's quite that bad down there yet. I think it's probably in the mid to high 70s on the field, but that is definitely going to be climbing through this half.
Yeah, it can kind of be a shock to go into the locker room, come back out, find it 10 degrees hotter and much brighter. Both teams seem to be doing fine with it, though. Oregon gets their second point out here. They get a little stuck in the handler space, so Jelly Boyden tries to push it downfield, and both players able to try and make a play, but we do have a foul call from the Oregon cutter here.
Yeah.
Server comes in and says no foul. So we are going to play here, and Arizona gets their first break chance this half. And nice pressure downfield from Rachel Egan. Causes a misread. Oregon gets the ball back relatively quickly at midfield. They are struggling to break through to the second layer as another nice defensive play, but again is met with an Oregon foul call. We'll see what this one turns into here.
I think the frisbee should just stay with Belier. It seems like it was a throwing foul, but the catch was completed. Belier saved the disc and kept it up, so the disc should just stay there. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what the call was, though.
I'm not quite sure either. Observer is maybe saying no foul on the throw, but the disc was up, and it's going to come back, and we'll figure that detail out later. But the point is, Oregon's going to retain it here. It's quite a choppy point, and actually I'm not sure if they're going to retain. They're going to resolve this over here. Looks like a contested foul on the throw.
I suppose it's possible they're saying the foul call came before the throw went off.
Sure.
In which case the disc would remain with, I believe that's Avery LaLiberty. But yeah, okay, we'll keep moving with it.
We'll keep playing. Regardless of the call, Arizona finding some great pressure here. Oregon kind of squeezing themselves into this far side, but Egan finds room, connects with Winterbottom. And bit of contact in the reset space. Finds Jelly Boyden on the turf. It's been a good battle between those two veterans down there. I think might have maybe, I was going to say maybe uncontested foul, but we are going to talk about it a little bit. Will be a foul. Observer affirms, so we are going to start back at stall one here. Rachel Egan finally goes up to the high side, but forces Takahashi to make a tough read, and it sails over their head. Arizona, for the second time this point, has a break chance here. Lots of room as the Oregon crowd starts stomping in the stands with a defense chant. Arizona so far unfazed, but again struggling to get the disc downfield. Finally, Kristen Reed inches it forward. Again down the sideline. It's going to find a bit of a lip, and both players are going to get a really solid hand on it. Going to have to probably have another conversation about what happens here. Although
we got a quick look at a replay here.
Yeah, my gut thought that was Jelly Boyden's disc first,
but
they both really get a hand on it. What did you see?
I got to go on the opposite side.
Great.
It looked simultaneous to me, in which that case the disc would remain with the offense. However, Bobby, I think you win this one. Observer agrees with you.
Everyone gets lucky sometimes or has one perspective. Takahashi going to try to go over the top, and look at the touch on that one. Perfectly angled and weighted. Suddenly Oregon 7 yards away from a goal.
Deep threat Jackie Matona is now with the ball.
He's going to find a nice, sleek window. Boyden, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Needs one more pass. She ignores Takahashi in front of her, throws it through her line of vision, and finds Avery in the backfield. And that is a long, confusing, hot hold for Oregon Soar. They keep their lead right where they want it.
Yes, definitely a little bit more chaotic than I think anyone on Oregon's side would want. Arizona, definitely a really great effort there. Generated really high pressure, which ultimately did result in some opportunities. But the downfield flow is looking stifled. This O-line defense from Oregon Soar has been making it very, very difficult for them to convert.
Yeah, and you can see both lines that just played walking a little slower than they have at any point this game. It is hot out there. That point easily our longest. So we'll see 14 new players out here at this point.
Definitely. Both teams are continuing to trade points, hunting for the first break of the second half.
Arizona bringing their own side stack into play here.
Yeah,
like Soar eating into that space with some poaches. And the story of this game, I think, for Arizona's offense is getting it past this front line of the Oregon defense. They have not gained a lot of throws like in the 15 to 30 yard space. They've been short gainers or bigger hucks. Oregon has really taken away that middle ground. Once again, Arizona, after 5 passes, have gained maybe 2 yards here. Finally finding a gap and kind of a blown opportunity as Lindsey Doyle was wide open downfield, but Arizona not willing to do anything too risky quite yet. Applegate. Some nice twirling handler moves to keep this thing flowing. Lippincott is going to take a nice look. It's got a great angle and great touch, and that corner is so hard to hit here in Portland. But Cody Lippincott finally breaking out onto the stat sheet. Makes a beautiful throw into the end zone. And after a ton of resets, Arizona finds their shot. Gets a nice clean hold.
I believe that was Lindsey Doyle. Yes, Lindsey Doyle with the score. So once again, their fingerprints are all over this game. They're making a really big impact for Arizona Sidewinders. I like Arizona Sidewinders coming out in that side stack. I think that's actually maybe the second time we've seen them do that off of a pull play, and I think it has been the switch up we needed to see something of a change to combat what Oregon's offense has been doing. Soar, on the other hand, had a bit more of a true zone in that instance, and Arizona's patience allowed them to break through it.
Yeah, and Oregon, after that long O-point about a minute ago, brings out 3 or 4 of the same players from that line, but a bunch more fresh legs also. Posey play comes in and tries to sneak it downfield to Matonis, but a great read. Christian Reed gets the block on this high sideline. Arizona very quickly with a break chance. They are still looking for their first break of this game. A nice little step through there from 23. Gets the ball moving quickly. Can they work to the other side of the field? Yes, Eifert with a new angle. Takes a give-go. Great securing bid. Once again here, Sonny Harris. New to the Sidewinders team, but a veteran of the sport. And we have a look into the end zone, but Egan was over it before the disc even left the hands of that thrower.
That was really nice awareness from Rachel Egan. Wow. Okay, I'm going to cut myself off there. That was a amazing block, I think, from Chip Chang, earning the ball back for Arizona Sidewinders, and they quickly flip it into the end zone for a score, which is Arizona's first break of the game. That is the energy we need to see them bring in the second half.
Yeah, the biggest moments of the game have been high energy blocks that just immediately get turned into goals for the block getting team. Arizona has not had one of those for a while. Chip Chang, I think, playing on the back of when Torres fights through, gets a nice block. Here's the first block at that point. And there is Chang kind of blocking it towards their own end zone. Great to get the block. Great to push the disc basically into the goal.
Right there. Get those yards.
That's a veteran move there.
What I really liked on that last point was Sidewinders' pull coverage.
Yes.
It immediately made it very, very difficult for Oregon Soar, and I think if they can keep bringing that pressure in this game, you could see a little bit of a different looking second half here.
Yeah. Again, kind of the typical Oregon offense, but immediately put it to ground. Seems like they might be feeling some effects of that quick goal as their energy is a bit discombobulated. And as the stall rises right on this sideline, we have a timeout called to make sure that Arizona does not let go of this possession. They are going to use their first timeout of the half, maybe make some substitutions, because they are sitting in the best position they've been in all game to close this gap, to try to tie this ball game up. See if they make any changes here.
Yeah, not to potentially cause the commentators curse again here, but I really think that's a smart usage of a timeout. I mean, we've got some energy rolling from Arizona. If they can cleanly put this away, that is going to give so much energy to this team that's been grinding. And like we said, they're so close. They've just been inches away from having this game go their way. This is an extremely important momentum moment. So, that being said, it's going to be really, really critical for Soar to stymie whatever offensive look is going to be put out here. I'm interested to see what sort of look it is. If I'm Soar, I'm probably looking to do some sort of poachy handler situation again, but I want to have pressure on the downfield players. I think that worked really nicely for them in the first half, so maybe a bit of a return to that.
And sneaky positive for Arizona. I thought that this was going to come in where Lippincott had it on the sideline, but they take it where the disc was thrown a couple yards in. It's going to give them a little more room to operate out of a vert stack here. They run a little split. Fitzgerald breathing down the neck. A nice job by Lippincott to secure that one. Here comes Arizona. Good horizontal movement. Can they break through to the downfield space? A shoestring grab there. O'Connell. And the horizontal movement really works and finally leaves a big crease downfield, and it's Kristen Reed, who is one of the best players finding those big downfield creases. And the timing connects, and Arizona is on a run here. They are down just one goal.
And I really like what Arizona did coming out of that timeout. I don't know if you could see from the camera angles, but they actually had one handler out and 6 people in their vertical stack. And what we were just talking about is the fact that Soar's handler poaching has been really, really effective against this team. So how do you get rid of that? Don't have any dumps. And it worked really well. They quickly were able to move the ball off of that trap sideline and found who better of a receiver than Kristen Reed in the end zone. And like you said, we are now at Soar still leading 12-11.
Yeah, this Arizona team just has so much experience, both on the Sidewinders team and from other club and pro spaces. I really like how they can just change into different shapes like that and give themselves different looks. Really paid off there. Can Oregon do the same here? If they get out to kind of a slow horizontal shape to start this point. Egan and Takahashi earning yards. Those two have been the best at it. Boyden is going to try to push one through the middle, and a wonderful little box out bump from Takahashi. That disc died in the air, but Takahashi reads it beautifully, fakes the defenders to the right, bops it over to the left, and Yeti Winterbottom is there. Oregon finally gets another hold. They keep this lead at 2.
A lot of the touches in that sequence was Jelly Boyden to Noelle Takahashi to Rachel Egan, and those three definitely have a lot of years playing together,
Yep.
a lot of chemistry, and I think it really shone in that point. And then top it all off with Yeti in the end zone. Very, very nice, very clean.
Yeah, and as good as it is to score, I think Oregon's also glad to get this D-line back out there with a full, fresh start at a point here, because this group has been excellent all game. They've not been able to really take the field in a couple of minutes here as Arizona goes on a run there. Amy Lamont going to pull this disc and also going to bring up the energy of this line. See if Arizona can keep things going.
There's about 20 seconds left on the clock.
Again,
So-
a little bit of poaching downfield and some steps downfield, but the cutter had turned the page to the other side of the field. Arizona clearly feeling the clock and just wanting to push the ball downfield, but we have an injury
Oh,
down in the reset space. I think hopefully it's just a cramp based on what I saw, but no contact. I think that's Jamie Johnson reaching for the ankle. We hope they're okay in the confusion of that turnover there.
yeah, I hope so as well. I did not see what happened.
And the clock also may have timed.
I do think that Oregon, I believe the possession changed prior to the clock
Yes.
going out, so Oregon Soar will have the opportunity to score another in this quarter. You know, I understand from Arizona's perspective, they're a little behind. They're trying to score points here, but I don't think that throw should have gone up. Again, I've said it earlier. Brittany Stetmeyer is a very tempting receiver. They're very talented in the deep space, but I think with 11 seconds left on the clock, I would probably prioritize possession first to make sure that Soar doesn't get this opportunity that they now have.
Yeah, I think we're going to take a bit of a longer break than any of us here want here as training staff here comes to check in. So we are going to take a break while they check in on this Oregon player. We will be back in a few.
Planning your club season? Come to Ski Town, August 15th and 16th in Salt Lake City. There will be a women's, mixed, and open division. We are now accepting bids, and scan the QR code on the screen or email skitownclassic@gmail.com for more information. We'll see you at Ski Town.
We are back from our break. The Oregon Soar player has been carried off the field, and we are definitely sending them positive thoughts. Hope they are all right.
Carried off with a smile on their face, which I think is valuable to all of us here. Wishing the best for Jamie Johnson. Hope it's not too bad. They have
a huge smile on their face right now.
Yeah. I mean, they should have a smile on their face based on how well they've been playing, their impact on this game.
Oh, absolutely.
Some of the most critical plays of that first half, easily.
So like we mentioned, Oregon Soar is going to get a possession here. So Arizona is definitely hoping to block them like they did, I believe, at one of the other end of the quarter. And there it is. They generate a turn, which is definitely something to give them some energy and be proud of going into this fourth quarter. And we have a really close game here.
Yeah, Arizona clawing back, using a lot more tools in their toolbox. And Oregon kind of stumbling a bit for the first time today. As the elements continue changing, the energy continues changing.
That being said, we are now going to shout out our Discraft play of the game, and who else but Caitlin Fitzgerald with that's not even their first layout block of this game. But yeah, Caitlin Fitzgerald absolutely having a fabulous defensive game here.
Yeah, and there was a lot of good stuff happening for Oregon that half, but that play led to a break that really felt like they were pulling almost out of reach with it. But here is Arizona sitting perfectly in reach of this game. We have 1 quarter left here in Portland. A loser almost goes home game for the season. We're going to see who can handle that pressure better. After a short break here, we'll see you in the fourth quarter. Welcome back here to Portland. Thank you for joining us on the stream. Thank you for joining all of these fans in the crowd. We got Martise out there really working it. They are so good at giving energy to this group, to this team, and coming up with great trivia.
Absolutely.
Making everyone feel involved. It's really a great production here.
And we
Portland.
love to see this Oregon home crowd. They have really been showing up for these games and lending so much energy to Oregon Soar. I know the players really appreciate it.
Yeah, and they will take all the extra energy they can find here as they really slow down a bit there in that third quarter as Arizona puts the clamps down. Speaking of putting the clamps down, huge mark here, Caroline O'Connell, maybe with a call here.
I maybe missed what happened. Did the disc end up on the ground there, or did I?
think so. I think it was just a big pivot with some contact that everyone thought would surely end in something. Speaking of ending in something, Jelly Boyden again with the trust throw into the end zone. And here comes Rachel Egan again. We know that music, the MVP of the game so far. A huge hold for this Oregon group. They keep their lead up, and Arizona is going to have to go to work quick here if they want to flip the script of this game.
And maybe Egan doing what Egan does best, which is boxing out and holding her space.
Yes.
No matter who the defender is. That defender, I didn't quite see who it was, but was putting insane pressure there. But it is really hard to outposition Egan once they get into that correct position. So Rachel Egan does many, many things well on the field, but I do think that could be possibly their distinct superpower.
Few players have I seen take more contact with fewer fouls called by them than Rachel Egan. They are just here to play that game because they are here to win it.
We always say when someone runs into Egan, Egan's not the person who's falling down in that interaction.
Arizona now back on offense. Another poachy look from this Oregon group. They are really trying to build a wall about 10 yards in front of the disc, which is the trouble spot for Arizona. They almost get by it, but it's just through the reach of Chip Chang, who has been their energy player so far this half. Can Arizona come up with something here on defense? Posey wants to make something happen, but Fitzgerald downfield on a different page. Arizona gets the ball back, but they have the full field left to go.
And that was Leah Jamison cleaning up that miscommunication. Who was one of Arizona's players to watch this game. Really lovely awareness from them.
Kristen Reed turning into open space downfield. Chip Chang puts just enough on it to get it there. And a wonderful continued follow cut from Madison Spiegel that no one can keep up with. Allows Kristen Reed another layup. And that is a nice hold for this Arizona squad.
Yeah, I think Arizona quickly transitioning there really helped them. It did not allow Oregon Soar to get back into that kind of vertical triangle that they had defensively set up around, which it was incredibly effective off of the pole. I mean, we saw a turn happen from that. So I really do like Arizona recognizing, hey, this is challenging us. Let's not give them the opportunity to set it up again.
Yeah, the Soar defense has been good, but this Arizona team has throwing depth all over the place. So playing with that pace has worked out really well from them. Anyone can go deep. Anyone can continue it into the end zone. They are going to have to come up with something here on defense, though. It's the Soar team. Just got a great feeling hold last time. And good pull coverage. They try to pull a little flood play here to get Yeti in space. It's going to give them a few yards and some nice helping downfield. Did not allow Egan to put it deep to Takahashi, who gets it here in the middle. But they are going to reach deep, and there is a big window for Winterbottom to run into, and the former Sidewinder helps keep the lead for their enemies this game. Oregon Soar with another nice clean hold.
That was a beautiful throw from Takahashi as well, perfectly into that open space for Yeti to run onto. Really nice from Soar's offense.
Yeah, it's a good sign for them to run their pull play and not gain too much out of it. Be able to flip sides of the field, find a different space, find a different option. Getting into options B and C successfully is going to lead to a lot of clean offense, and Oregon has done that here today.
Definitely. I actually think that was something that was really missing from the first half for Soar. They had the frisbee on that trap sideline instead of trying to force something upfield that was hard and tight. They worked the ball all the way to the other side and scored from that.
Arizona back on offense.
Also starting out in a side stack.
Yeah.
Seems to work well for both teams.
Working well for both teams. Can Oregon kind of put the clamps down? Seems like they do. Slow things down a bit. But Arizona finding space on this open sideline, and a throw with a bit too much touch, but no one there to exploit it, and a nice little front cone move there from who else? Kristen Reed, the goal getter. And Arizona needs exactly that. Clean holds and holds that happen quickly. Clean, fast holds.
Kay Powell having a really lovely game as well. They really drove some yardage gains forward there and hit that skinny inside to Reed. Hard throw to execute, but definitely a lot of trust and chemistry there between the two of them.
Yeah, and kind of a pivotal point here is Oregon's going to turn to their sort of hybrid O-line after Arizona gets a quick hold. Oregon trying to use their depth, trying not to overuse that primary line. See if Arizona put some pressure on here on defense might be an opportunity. Try something different. We will see. When Torres has had a quiet game, but a good one here. It's going to start in the middle, and some poaching from Arizona. Going to slow things down.
Once again, really nice in-game adjustment from Arizona. They recognized that flood and fill was happening, and they sat someone in that lane to make sure that they didn't get that throw off.
You can see the Sidewinders on their toes as they try to go for a bid, and a throw to no one is always a throw to Rachel Egan. Bumps it over to Takahashi and finds a wide open Caitlin Fitzgerald. What looked like a devastating turnover is somehow a fascinating, bombacious goal for Oregon, and they keep holding on to that lead. They are up 16-13 with about 8 minutes left here in this final quarter.
We are just trading points here in the final quarter, and again, both teams are doing what I think they need to be doing. Arizona Sidewinders are making the defensive adjustments and making sure that Soar is not getting to do the primary thing they're trying to do, whatever that pull play is. And on the other side of things, Oregon Soar is maintaining their lead by staying patient and I guess also gritting it out there, saving the ball and keeping their hopes alive. And let's see if they can get a break here on defense to really further their lead.
Yeah, really mature stuff to have someone come in and catch that disc even when it's not intended for them, and to have huge continue cuts. Trusting your team is going to make every catch. Arizona has been pretty good at that as well. We'll see if they can keep up the clean stat sheet here and the pace. But speaking of pace, they try to get it to a strong thrower, but they kind of go a little too fast, just outside of the reach of the long reach of Eifert, and giving up the body to secure that one is Posey. Is Oregon here in the red zone on a break chance? Here's Grace Alston. Tries to reach around the edge and keep this horizontal movement going. A bit past cutting Preston Berg. Arizona, 80 yards. Chang continues the momentum down the sideline. Open players kind of not ready for it. Chang in power position with a matchup she likes, and the disc is low enough for Posey to go up and get it. Smashes it out the sideline. Critical block here for Oregon.
Absolutely. Stetmeyer has been a leading stat leader for Arizona Sidewinders, and I think Oregon Soar has done a really, really nice job of minimizing that player's impact so far in this game. They know that they're looking to Stetmeyer as an outlet in those high-pressure situations, and they have done a really good job of eliminating them.
A little power position look here for Oregon, who are probably happy to just push the disc deep into Arizona territory, as the clock will continue ticking. Here's Chang again. Finds 15 yards downfield, but again, they try to go fast. And a different page is the cutter downfield. Another disc floats past its receiver. Oregon now walking to the disc.
Yeah, it's turning into a battle of the point. I think this is the most back and forth we've had so far this quarter.
Yeah, and coaches
and
agree.
Coaches agree.
As they are going to call a timeout there. Arizona going to ask the question, make sure that call happened before the turning over throw happened. Referees are going to say, yes, it did. So Oregon's going to have the disc. Both teams probably bringing in 7 fresh bodies. We see the big O from Oregon for their offense group coming in.
I saw a lot of players patting their coach Leo on the back on the call on that one.
Yes.
I think sometimes in pro, a really big difference of pro versus club is the fact that with that timeout call, you are able to do the line change out, So I think early on in the league start, that was such an adjustment for players. And sometimes you would see in the players' body language of, you're taking me off the field right now? Let me go, let me play, let me do this.
Yeah.
And that was not the case in this instance. I think the players were recognizing, like, we're feeling this point. It's been a lot of back and forth. Let's get that O-line out to secure this point and maintain the lead. We have Oregon Soar up 3 points here with a little, almost 6 minutes left on the clock. So we have a lot of time left in this game.
Yeah, for as good as Oregon has looked here in this quarter, and for how happy they are to take a minute off the clock there, even if they haven't scored yet in this D point, there is plenty of time left. We have seen some wild stuff happen here as Egan brings it down despite the pressure. And Boyden gets power possession. They're going to reach again for Noelle Takahashi. And Kristen Reed is draped all over her, but no one can stop Takahashi in this northern end zone. And a great follow, I think, from Yeti. No, Belier, I think, was the one who ended up with the goal. But Oregon breaks out of the timeout and gets the O-line break.
And Takahashi is understandably one of our players to watch this game.
Yes.
This is their first game back in a little bit. They were dealing with a knee injury, I believe, but you can see why this is such a big player for Oregon Soar. So reliable in that space. That was a really tough read, and they came down with it despite being under the pressure of Kristen Reed, another great player who can read the disc well. Exciting to see it. We love having Noelle back out here.
Yeah, a long-time elite cutter defender, still is, but has turned into just a devastating cutter now in the past couple of seasons, especially playing with this Soar team.
And I think we forgot to call it out because of the timeout changeup, but that actually was a break for Oregon Soar, which is the first break of the fourth quarter. Excuse me.
And it might not feel like it based on who was on the field, but very impactful goal there for Oregon. Arizona trying to respond quickly, getting into this Oregon half of the field quicker than they usually do. This group has kind of been stuck on the D side as teams have been trading. We have not seen Applegate attacking for a minute. They have thrown a couple of goals already this half. They have it here, about 20 yards to go.
I like the pace of play coming from Arizona Sidewinders right now. Really, no players held it in their hands for more than 3 seconds, I would say. High movement. Oregon Soar is doing a pretty good job of containing it, but they're finding open players. They're able to see those people right now.
Yeah, and potentially a little force middle maybe, but nothing open around the edges of the mark here. But they are inching closer, and a nice pace of play. Applegate flips it over the side, and there is the breakthrough. That's a hold for Arizona as they keep this game within reach as the clock ticks down to about 4.5 minutes. Oregon's going to respond with their primary offense group. Arizona flipping to their second line, as they have pretty clearly been in just a 2-line system here. Confident that either one can play on either side.
Definitely, which it is funny. We talked about that earlier. Both of these lines, you're seeing them start on both offense and defense. But if I was in the position here where I was thinking I need a line to go earn the ball and get a break, I think I would pick this line for Sidewinders. Chip Chang, we saw that amazing layout block earlier in the game. Cody Lippincott, an absolute terror of someone to guard you. They are just willing to put their body on the line to get a block. We'll see if this line can do it.
Yeah, I saw Janet Wan make an eager bid last point. They are certainly trying to look to make something happen. Here's Jelly Boyden, who has not given up a power position once this game because they keep connecting with cutters downfield. Look at the footwork here from Yeti, who tiptoes into the end zone. Beautiful play there, and another quick, clean hold for the Soar. A nice little carve for Boyden means they can just walk into this flick huck. And the twinkle toes into the end zone. Earns Yeti the goal and Boyden the assist.
Yeah, and kind of speaking to your key of the game earlier is finding the hot hand for Oregon Soar. I think Jelly Boyden could be it for this O-line. That is the second point in a row for that line to be on that Jelly has, I believe, thrown. I guess not necessarily assist, but the
hockey assist going
the
crazy
hockey
right
assist,
now,
or
yeah.
at least the deep shot that then converted into a goal.
Yeah, Takahashi, Egan, Winterbottom, all reeling in hucks from Boyden this half. And a sneaky nice pull here from Oregon to start this D point, who are going to bring this poachy little front of stack zone again as they trust Emily Posey to lock down the deep shot. But here comes the test. And Kristen Reed has been the one this game. Posey repositions and goes over the top from the backside. Even Kristen Reed can't help but
That
put a little
was-
smirk on their face after that one. But again, for the Xth time this game, another quick turnover after a nice block for Oregon. Kristen Reed finds the goal that they were just denied.
Well, even though that didn't go Soar's way, I do want to re-emphasize Posey's defense there.
Absolutely.
I really liked Reed's path that they were taking to try to box out Posey, and Posey was able to readjust back to get the best lane to get a block on that shot. Really excellent effort from both players there.
Yeah, if I'm telling Posey anything on the sideline, it's maybe walk away, celebrate that one for a couple seconds. Let that clock burn, you know? We don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a good
Let
point.
the crowd cheer you on. Arizona, though, will take it as the probability chart continues to tick upwards towards an Oregon win, but it is not over yet. Can Arizona find anyone to stop the deep looks of this Oregon squad? Here's Takahashi.
Yeah. The only break of this quarter so far has been from Oregon Soar. So it has been a battle of a quarter, but, you know, starting with a lead into this quarter, they are absolutely doing what they need to do. And Noel Takahashi earning the ball back for Oregon Soar.
Yeah, Matonis is going to take a look at Takahashi downfield, but instead give a little flip to Egan on the second move.
I think we all secretly wanted Matonis to rip it there to Takahashi.
And Egan, I think, in that change of direction, is going to flip it back to Matonis and take herself out of the game here. A little bit of a calf cramp, maybe. Zoe Luke, strong cutter and cutter defender, going to take her place. Kristen Reed is going to match that substitution downfield. Going to take the Takahashi assignment. And clamps were almost on there for Arizona. It's Oregon struggling to get it downfield. And look at this reach all the way around the break side from Jackie Matonis. Taking a page out of Jelly Boyden's playbook. Just put it up for these cutters to go get it. They are getting it. That is a nice little choppy hold there for Oregon.
I'll say it. I said it earlier. We wanted Matonis to put that ball up to Takahashi, and I think she heard us and said, okay, no problem.
Yeah, denies the open side look, opts for the break side look, and it works out.
And that was a bit of a longer point. We are
Yes.
down to 1:47 here in the final quarter. And honestly, I don't think Oregon Soar, I think they'd be really happy with that, right? They burned some clock and they came up with the goal. Great, we'll take it.
Happy to see Egan on her feet looking okay over here. Likely not going to see them again in this game, though. Don't think anyone's going to touch their scoreboard crown, though, even if they don't play these final 90. Arizona here, still going to take every point they can. It would be maybe the best comeback we've ever seen if they can pull this one out. But they will take every point differential helper that they can. Finally, a nice pocket found downfield through this poachy Oregon defense. They keep up the pace. Now as Oregon melts into person defense, slows things down. Applegate into a nice space, wonderful possession bid there. Goldstein kind of stuck on this 18-yard line though. Some good positional defense downfield, 5 yards now. And trying to give a little shoulder check to the open side, bring it back around to the break side, but catches the foot of the mark there. Uncontested foul. Another clean look here. Lamont managing to keep the lid on after that break side start. 3 yards. And the around,
Oh my gosh.
finds the left hand and right foot downfield. I think that's Janet
Wow.
Wan.
I think that is Janet Wan. What
Wan.
a grab. Oh my gosh.
And that felt like a Caroline O'Connell just, we need to go over here right now, kind of a throw.
Yeah. Wow. What I was really noticing in that possession there from Sidewinders was they were really fighting for the high
Yes.
space. They weren't unwilling to move it onto the fourth side, but it seemed like they were very distinctly not going to put themselves into that trapped third
Yes.
of the field. And it really paid out. I'm sure Caroline O'Connell probably wanted to make that a little bit cleaner of a throw to their teammate, but I mean, hey, you get to make your teammates look really cool there. I'm sure Janet Wan is really happy and pleased with that grab. But we are still mostly trading here in the fourth quarter. We are at Oregon leading 19 to Arizona 16 with only 26 seconds left on the clock.
It's only a couple of passes here that Oregon needs to complete. So this disc is going to float out of bounds. We're going to see the side stack once again. Can Arizona deny all this open space? Looks like they're going to play straight up person here. Trust their defenders to not leave any gaps open. And a small gap created downfield. Boyden's going to take it, and they cannot miss. Haley Belier reels it in, and I think the clock sounded, but they are going to say that Arizona gets a chance here. So this is the final possession. Arizona is going to get a chance to have a little icing on top of this game, even if they will not be taking home the W. Can they close the point gap? Can they enter the locker room with something positive here? They've played a solid game, but just little small things like that added up to this 3-point lead, and Oregon Soar in front of a roaring home crowd holds on to a huge win, 19-16. Both teams, I think, absolutely do not quote me here, cling to chances of playoffs, but Oregon takes a huge step forward in their season and in their program here as they secure a second consecutive home win. Wow.
Wow, what a game. That was so exciting on both sides.
Yeah.
And although that didn't go the way that Arizona Sidewinders wanted, there was a lot of really bright spots for them in this game. Really exciting to watch. And like you said, really monumental for Oregon Soar's program. A second win at home is huge. And I think both of these teams, we have watched them evolve over a couple of seasons into stronger programs. And best of luck to them in the rest of the season to come.
Yeah, looking forward to the rest of both of these teams' seasons. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Also, we will see you in the YouTube chat. Big shout out to all of our fans here in person. Hopefully all of us, you in the stream right now, can join us here for a game, either a Soar game or a championship weekend coming up in just a bit that we are going to be hosting here. It's going to be a great time. But that is going to do it here for Oregon Soar. I am Bobby Goff. I was joined by Danny Renzo. Big shout out to our incredible production team here, all of our producers, our camera people, our graphics people, our game day staff, our fun zone employees. It's been a great time. Oregon Soar, take home the W. We will see you next time.